Hello, my name is Brian Kunka and I'm the co-founder of Bolt & Beam. Our company is a free resource to help homeowners identify the best way possible to sell your home quickly. Now, we're world class when it comes to helping you find a buyer for your difficult to sell home or when you need to sell your house lightning fast. Today what we're going to talk about is what is the right type of house to allow Bolt & Beam to help you with. So we're going to go through a few houses. This is the first one. The homes that we're going to show you have a variety of issues that Bolt & Beam is able to help you out with. Some folks are going through financial distress, others are getting divorced, or people have inherited properties. Some folks had job relocations where they had to move quickly. Oftentimes what you're going to see is that these houses needed a lot of work in order to be done. And going through Bolt & Beam is like hitting the easy button. It's just really quick to be able to sell your house and make it easy on no repairs. You take what you want, you leave the rest, you don't repair anything, and you just go. Other times there's some houses that we come across where the house is in good shape and they're just done and they just need to sell quickly for one reason or another. So take a look. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. So this is another example of a house that would be good for a cash buyer to purchase. You can notice that there's really large overgrown bushes throughout. There's an old pool back there. The soffit and the woodwork is starting to get severely weathered, and you can see that over here as well. You can see the mold and the deterioration of the siding. And then when you walk in, this house has really good bones. Somebody lives here actively, but there's just a few things to point out. You got had a water problem at some point. There's one issue there. Another issue is, when you come down here, that water problem kind of extended. There is, all throughout the house, there's just a lot of stuff. And so a lot of things to be removed. And what happens is, often it just becomes too much for the homeowner to manage. And they're ready to move, but they don't know how to move all of the stuff that's in here. So with us, basically, we purchase your house as is. You take what you want, you leave the rest, and we deal with the stuff, which is a relief for a lot of folks kind of in this situation. So this would be another example of a good house for a cash buyer to purchase. So here's another good example of a house that you could sell to a cash buyer. I'm in the basement and there's a poured concrete wall, and if you can see all of this kind of gray that's going on, this is giant cracks that are in here, and it caused the walls to heave. So there's a breaking point all through here, so it basically was collapsing in on itself. So we've had to install these I-beams to support it all the way around the basement. This is a big project. It's expensive, and on top of that, the other thing that comes with foundation issues is water issues. So along with the foundation issue, we've actually had to bust up this entire ground all the way around and put in what's called a French drain. So that French drain, it's labor intensive, it's expensive because it's labor intensive. And we get a lot of homeowners that want to sell their house to us because they just either don't have the money to deal with an expensive project like this, or they don't want to go through kind of this type of repair. So this particular house was an owner that wanted nothing to do with fixing this house, so they sold it to us. And this is just a really good example of the type of house or the type of repairs that could be a really good fit for a cash buyer. So here's another house that would be a great house for a cash buyer to come in. If you look, the ceiling is missing. You come into the bathroom is torn apart. This looks like a flip gone bad. These are great houses for cash buyers to come in to purchase because they'll finish the flip off and they'll kind of take it to completion. Here the bedroom is basically fine. You need some paint, you need a light fixture in there. Kind of the same thing here, but this one also is missing the ceiling, so you need to get a new light fixture. It looks like there might have been a fan there at some point. And then as you come to the rest of the house, you know, like you look the kitchen, there's no cabinets in there. The ceiling of the kitchen obviously needs some work, so we need to run through and fix that up. But here's a great example. There are no cabinets. Because there's no cabinets, you can't really get a standard mortgage. Might be able to do an FHA home improvement loan to get that. But this is where a cash buyer would come in and do a great job. You know, the other thing to talk about in the back is you have this deck here. And like, it's a nice deck, but it's just very old and worn. You're missing railings going across here from a safety perspective. And then, you know, you're kind of missing railings over here. And so you look, you know, again, you see that the yard is overgrown tremendously. And even if you look next door is missing a roof. That's a great example of a house that a cash buyer would buy, because if you got the blue tarp on there, inevitably water is making it in there, and you know, the inside of that house needs a lot of work. You can guarantee that. The insulation in the attic is probably moldy, and that's toast, and then that leaks down into the drywall, and you're going to have to fix all the drywall. Inevitably there's going to be mold in there. So that's a good example of a house for a cash buyer. And then anytime you see this giant piece of greenery, that's out of control. So another good example of when a cash buyer would come in and take on the house. But in general, like, this is a beautiful brick house. You can look over here. Like, a lot of people think that this roof is worn, but they actually have a guy called the roof shampoo guy that can come in and he can basically shampoo this roof and get it to where it looks like it's brand new. So you would have to fix that shingle, and on the front there's a shingle that's missing as well. So anyhow, here's another example of a house that just needs a little bit of work, including this door, brand new door, to get it back to a regular retail buyer. Another example of a house that would be great for a cash buyer is, this one is kind of twofold. This is somebody tried to flip the house themselves and they just didn't have the technical ability to do it. And then while they were working on it, the bathtub piping burst in the bathroom. It's actually on the back side here, and water shot out here for about 10 days. And you can see the floor is heaving at this point and very buckled. You can see mold kind of all over the house. So what needs to happen is you need to bring somebody over here that can remediate the mold and get this fixed up. Most likely what's going to happen is all of these walls are going to have to come down. You're going to have to install all new insulation, run all new electrical, and spend a lot of time, effort, and energy and money to get this fixed up, which is a great reason why selling the house to a cash investor is a great way to go if you don't feel like spending the time doing that. I'll show you another reason why it would make sense for us to help you find a buyer for your home. This particular house is down to the studs. And so it's missing a lot, right? There's no walls. There's a floor, but not a finished floor. Electrical's in, so you don't have to do, you know, any electrical. But look, there's also stuff in here. So this at some point was an estate. The stuff was left, and you know, a lot of times people just don't know what to do with the stuff. And this is an example. They left everything, and the value that we provide is we help, you know, we help deal with the stuff. So in our situation, you take what you want, you leave what you don't, and we deal with the rest. So this particular house is a good example of one that would be great to have Bolt and Beam help you with. It just needs a little bit of everything, and your typical retail buyer is not going to be the one that buys a house like this. You need an investor that's going to come through here and fix this up, and that is who we are teamed up with, and that is what we're world class at, is helping you find buyers for difficult to sell homes that aren't retail ready. So a house like this, definitely. So another good example of a house that's perfect for a cash buyer is this house. It's a great house in a great neighborhood in really great shape. The person that owns it is a landlord, and they just want to cash out of this house. They want nothing to do with dealing with the renter anymore. They don't want to deal with any of the maintenance, none of that stuff. So we're going to come through, purchase it from them as is, and we'll take over the renter from them, and they get to walk away nice, quick, and easy. If you have any questions, feel free to go to boltandbeam.com or send us a quick email and we'll be sure to get right back with you. Thank you so much. Happy house selling.